Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up. I'm Ross Aiken, and I'm joined again today by Kirby. Say hi, Kirby.
Hi, Russ. Thanks for bringing me back for 4 for 4.
Yep, it's our fifth episode of 4 before, and we'll be covering issues 17 through 19 and Annual 1. For some reason, in the Epic, they put the Annual after 18, but in the Omni, they put it after 20. So we went with the Epic thing, because I think that's the way it was in one of the guides I had too. So that's kind of why I asked Kirby yesterday which ones we were doing. So let's just get started with issue 17. Release date May 9th, 1963. Cover date August 1963. Editor-in-Chief Stan Lee. Writer Stan Lee. Penciler Jack Kirby. Inks Dick Ayers. Colorist Stan Goldberg. Letter art Simic. And editor Stan Lee. So I'm not going to go through these long synopses, but basically Dr. Doom returns and messes with the FF, because this is the Silver Age, folks. A lot of plots are just someone shows up and you have a fight. But this one was I'm going to start is like, these are following now. We've gotten to that point in the run where what happened in the issue before is referenced in the next issue. They're still standalone stories for the most part, but their continuity is forming.
Yep, because they're waving off Ant-Man after their last adventure with him. They give us a quick recap, and then we're off to, hey, Dr. Doom just kind of ran away at the end of the last issue, so we need to find him today.
So, of course, they do it just by, Reed and Sue using a big fancy machine that the headpiece is a bra with an antenna at the top.
This would be such a cool piece of Kirby tech if it wasn't for that headdress.
It does. It just looks silly. And Human Torch flies, and the thing falls in a manhole cover. It comes out. It's a lot. This is a lot of fun. I really
like this sequence with Ben where he falls in the manhole. He pops up, gets hit by the car, thinks he found Dr. Doom, and then it's a guy in a Dr. Doom outfit, but he's advertising for a Broadway show.
I know, it's
really gold.
They stop some bad guys. They meet the old janitor who looks like a character out of Popeye, who of course is Dr. Doom in disguise.
And So is he wearing a rubber mask over the helmet? Because that's what it really looks like.
Yeah. I think so. Unless he was, because he doesn't put the mask. He doesn't put his faceplate on. He just pulls the hood up over his tunic. And he sends out these weird
Hanna-Barbera kind of cartoons.
Yeah, there's a character called Mr. Blobby from the 90s, who was a guy in an inflated suit who just made a weird noise and assaulted people. That's what he kind of reminded me of. But it's just really silly stuff. We're at the Silver Age era. What do you take of these kind of stories? Because the story's it's 22 pages, but it's almost pure action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this issue, I think, for all of kind of the cartoony, goofy aspects, it actually flows very well, and there isn't a whole lot of, just dead air, dead air on it. One thing I do wish is Dr. Doom is hiding in a Skylab thing in the clouds of New York. I wish it still had that painted shark face from his first appearance on it.
Yeah. Now it's still a nice little light pink in mine. Is it pink in yours?
Yeah, it's pink in mine.
All right.
This is where he has abducted Alicia Masters, which, classic, okay, Lex Luthor's going to kidnap Lois Lane. Totally fine. Doom then threatens the Fantastic Four to stay out of his way as he tries to get a cabinet post with during the Kennedy administration, and we're now given witness to Lee Harvey Oswald's favorite comic panel of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Then what we have, Khrushchev is given the same thing, because it's like, yeah, Doom has destroyed the U.S., but what makes you think he's going to stop in the USSR?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like that. You don't see Kennedy's face. You just see him from behind, and he's sitting in his famous rocking chair in the Oval Office. But Khrushchev, you get a full-size panel, and all the generals are made to be like cartoon villains.
Oh, I just noticed in the back with Kennedy, it looks like it's Jackie O and one of the kids in the very back. I just noticed that little.
Oh yeah. In silhouette.
Yeah. And then it's this is again, it's a lot of light. It's very breezy, but I do like this bit where Reed has really started to get some beard going on, as he's just been working day and night trying to find Doom.
Yeah, I like that, because eventually, in certain eras, he'll either have a beard or he has they go back to that. How do we show Reed is stressed? He's got stubble.
Yep.
It's their go-to. I like that they have to kind of shrink Ben down so he can get in this flying apparatus, which looks like a sperm.
Yeah, and it's like what's our explain? It's something to the effect of Doom has mapped out all their genetic structure, so if we can turn Ben back temporarily, he can get through that defense, because it doesn't recognize his human form. So, of all the times we've seen Ben turn back into human, this is one of the more plot relevant ones at the time.
Oh yeah, because it's always. But also he looked. But I was like a 15-year-old kid watching this. So it looks like a sperm, and when he explodes. It's like, come on, Stan. I don't know.
Jack's having a little fun.
Yeah. Here, how are you gonna explain that one, Stan? But then, I mean, it's really, there's some great action. I think the art's really good because it's still a little rough around the edges.
But you can see where it's growing. I really like the panel of Reed going through the air holes in the concrete as Doom's trying to suffocate him to death.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All the Doom booby traps get better and better.
And Ben, I love just the image that they were able to get into Ben is clawing into the steel pier that the steel beam.
Yeah.
As Doom tried to just drop the floor out from under him.
Yeah, so it's a nice little action sequence. I think we've kind of crossed a line a couple issues ago where continuity started to take place, and some of it's good, but they're still very simple kids comics.
It is, but one thing I also do like is even if we have Alicia as the damsel, Sue is an active part of this.
Yeah, she's very much so. Yeah.
It's definitely we're starting to see that flip switch, and there's part of me going, they're starting to realize we need to give her something a little more to do than just turn invisible here.
Yeah, and they're getting there. I do find some of the panels when they want to give her emphasis, sometimes she's just drawn, there's one panel, I'm trying to find the page, where he really, they pop how she looks, so it's from a fashion, a romance comic. Only when she's in full close-up, there's a difference in detail, but there's a difference in detail throughout the book. Even on page 14 where he's got the stubble, it's not as polished as it's going to get when Sinnott gets there.
No. If Sinnott was here now, this would be even, Ben would look even rockier.
And I think that's where that comes from, don't you? Yeah. That it's really the Sinnott.
It starts somewhere. It's Chick Stone, even maybe a little Coletta, but once Sinnott's there, Ben really looks rocky. Yeah. One thing I did notice is they make Doom's mask way more expressive, on pages 19 and 20 than I used.
He's laughing, it's smiling, it's weird.
Then the weird frown with the huge eyebrow thing going on, that one really kind of threw me.
Yeah.
But again, they're still kind of working things out, and I can let it go for 1963.
Oh yeah. These are definitely less painful, cartoony than some of the earlier ones when it was. I really read like a half-ass Silver Age DC comic. There are times.
Yep.
So, but I
Speaking of that, that is kind of what the cover of this really reminded me of, where you have Doom in the center, and you're showing all four of the various different traps he's throwing.
That's a great. It's such a good cover. I was thinking I'd like an Alex Ross painted version of that.
Okay, that would actually really work. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I miss covers like that. Modern covers are just poses.
Now it would be Doom holding up a fist with like the Fantastic Four like peeking out between the fingers.
Yeah. What was I looking for? There's a panel in here that I like. On page 13, I like one panel, the diagram of how Doom is looking at their atomic structure, and that you see the models of them on the screen. I kind of like that. That was I like we're in the future. Everybody, when they do super science machines in Marvel and even in DC, is doing Kirby. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna move on to 18. Let me switch pages. Kirby, say what. Let's hear your take on this cover while I'm pulling up the next.
Okay, so I just heads up. Like Ross said, he was on board with the Red Ghost. This is the issue where I finally came on board, and I really loved this cover with the Super-Skrull. I like the very unique perspective we get on the Thing, where he's yelling into the sky. We're not even given a full body shot. Where he's really looking like he will later on. We got the
they're sharp lines. They're not real curved. Like inside they're this issue they're a little more, but they look less lumpy and more rocky.
Yep. Again, Reed stretching to catch Johnny, as we just got a huge arrow where he has the powers of the Fantastic Four plus still more. How can they ever defeat the all-powerful Super-Skrull? With a just pointing right at him in his flaming form as he's coming in to attack the floor. And there's a part of me where it's like, is this a goofy cover copy? I'm like, no. If I was a kid seeing this and I remembered the Skrull issue from 2, I was like, who's the Super-Skrull? And Super-Skrull, I just want to say again, I know I'm jumping ahead, he is the coolest of all of the. I have all the powers of the team. He beats Amazo, Super Adaptoid.
Oh God, yeah. Because he's actually got a personality. I think.
Yeah.
The cartoon upgraded Amazo, and I think it shows now. But you're right. Let's go through some of the pertinent data on this comic. It was released on June 11th, 1963. Cover dated September 1963. Again, Stan Lee, editor-in-chief. The title is A Skrull Walks Among Us. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby as always, Dick Ayers, Inc., Stan Goldberg, Artie Simek. Everything's the same on this one. And basically, the Skrulls are watching Earth, and we get to see their homeland. And they just they talk about how are they going to defeat. They're still pissed about what happened to their first batch sent in issue 2 of FF. And then we're introduced to this. We get 3 pages of them introduced, 3.5 pages of them introducing the Super-Skrull, and it's some great stuff. I mean, the Skrulls are really. There's a little more detail in them, I think.
Yeah, we finally get the ripple chins that they'll kind of be known for, and Jack is really starting to play a little more with the panel layout as he's demonstrating his super strength, where it's 3 medium panels at the top and 3 much longer ones, as he's pulling the giant Kirby tech.
Which makes no sense. That doesn't.
I know.
Because he's standing on it. Is he lifting it? How you're moving him up?
I was thinking it's a counterweight, so it's as he pulls up, he's lifting himself. I don't know, comic books.
It looks great.
It looks amazing.
But the physics is crap.
We're gonna get there in a few more pages where I have some questions.
Oh yeah. Well, we get there. We get to see him being introduced, and then we cut back to that the FF. They go on vacation to Hawaii using a rocket ship, and then it's a week later, and they're in Macy's in a big department store.
Right. So
Ben's shopping for bowling balls.
which again just makes me think of him with the voice of Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, and I like to. They don't have ones with fingers big enough for him, so he smashes it and into an odd shape, and it's like it's a bowling ball. It would just shatter. It's
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, again, comic book fiction, and then he walks back out, and there's this mob that has mobbed his three teammates, and Reed's stretching out from under it, which is kind of creepy, dude. I hope you did not look up those women's skirts.
No, he's a man of science in the '60s. Of course he did.
Yeah. So then they pull them all out. It's some silly stuff. And then because they hear, oh no, something's happening, and Super-Skrull I love the Super-Skrull's walking down down the street, tries to stick a flag in, has to burn a hole in it, and just basically claims the planet. And just, whatever. What's the line? Before long, I shall issue the first imperial orders from your new provisional Skrull government. Okay, let's get some of the paperwork done.
Yep. So two bits with this. One, if he's explicitly said to be stronger than the Thing, he should absolutely be able to plant that flag into New York City concrete. I'm sorry.
I know. It's and also fire's not really going to melt concrete.
No.
So.
And they do say something like he thinks he's Columbus or something. Planting that nutty banner in the street. Oh. It's just like, okay. We come back. We get the Skrulls with, I think they're said to be in the Andromeda Galaxy, and they're just watching the TV of him starting to take over as the Fantastic Four come to attack.
Yeah, I love that, and I love this fight sequence. It's really good.
I do too. Just again, they're getting more dynamic. They're getting a lot more creative. What is it? For instance, I can fry the very air around you until it turns into black carbon. I'm like, okay. And then, go ahead.
Or Ben turning the escalator with one punch into a slide.
Ben, again, I need to know what their insurance liability is, because Ben just goes through it every week.
Yeah, there should be posters at the front of every door. Ben Grimm is not allowed in this establishment because he keeps messing stuff up. I like how he defeats Mr. Fantastic. Stretching.
Oh yeah, where he keeps stretching and stretching, and then even when Reed gets a little too Plastic Man, where he turns his hand into a hammer, the Skrull he grabs a hunk of earth from miles and miles away, and when he blocks it, it looks like Reed's hand is screwed up, arm is screwed up on page 14 there. And
then, and he's holding like a chunk off a mountain from miles away that he's pulled there in seconds. And then he starts battering Ben. Then he turns his head into a big, giant, phallic ram's head and knocks Ben all the way off the roof of the building he's on to. Is that the Empire State Building?
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was the Empire or if it was the Chrysler Building.
I think it's the Chrysler Building. I think he's on top of the Chrysler Building. And then, Reed does a thing where he turns part of his body into wings by stretching out. I like that.
That is really cool. Again, they're getting more and more, or Jack's getting more and more creative with how he's showing their powers, and I love that.
Yeah. Stuff that we're going to see later. Makes fire chains to try to get Johnny, which is kind of silly.
Yeah, they're definitely kind of going a little Green Lantern with Johnny's powers in these couple of issues here.
Yeah.
Which, again, they're kind of figuring stuff out, and they're learning, okay, well, let's dial that back.
Yeah. It's like when they finally give Sue the ability to make other things invisible, which is a great... Ben hits us a ride with the New York police helicopter off the Chrysler Building.
Yeah.
And an invisible Super-Skrull is shooting flame arrows at everybody.
Again, it's moving, and I love it. It's... Yeah. Where is it? I shall allow them to return to their headquarters and spend a sleepless night, fearing my next move. Then tomorrow I shall finish them off at my leisure. Oh, I just love this. I just love Super-Skrull.
I do too. And I like how they trick him. Well, we'll meet you on this island. Mm-hmm. And Sue's going to put a tag. She's going to tag him with something that turns his powers off.
So, right, because they explain that it's like he couldn't have enough of generate like enough energy by himself, so he must be getting it from like a laser beam, radio wave. So if we can block that, he'll be depowered or at least powered down.
Yeah, because the powers aren't part of him right now. They're being supplied to him by his overlord, the Emperor. So there's 18 pages with like 2 different fight scenes, all this action, and then the story's wrapped up. They steal his powers, and then they drop him in a hole and leave him on this desert island that has nothing but dirt and a hole.
Yep. But again, this issue is definitely where I came on board. So of course it was the last issue in my trade.
Oh yeah. Oh, is it the final one in
the epic? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The first epic ends with this issue. So it's like I want to see what happens next. Oh, there's no pages left.
Yeah.
But I think with the final fight, Sue, even though she can't, do the force, the bubbles or anything like that, she's still an active part of the team, and she's never the damsel in distress here. And again, I really like that they're moving forward with her for a bit.
Yeah, she's getting better and better. What I like is, even with all the silly sexist 60 stuff, like her being being sidelined because she's pregnant in future issues, there is something that Sue is not. She doesn't scream. She doesn't faint. It's moving forward. So the next one is annual number 1, which is good because in the fandom wiki has it in this place. The Epic has it, but for some reason in the Omni, it's in a different place. I think it's when it was released.
Okay.
This is a classic cover. Everybody's seen this. It's got Submariner sitting on a throne with the Fantastic Four in a bubble. The Undersea Legions of the Submariner. It's a 72-page comic for a quarter. That sounds great. And then below is Spider-Man waits within these pages. Also the origin of the Fantastic Four. There's a lot of extra in this, but let's get started on this one. When we decided on this, I couldn't remember this annual that well. And it's pretty good. It's a long one. Good God.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get the right. Again, Stan, editor-in-chief. The colorist is Glynis Wein in this. That's the only difference.
Okay.
It is called the Submariner versus the Human Race. And the first 3 pages are, the first page, the splash page, is this single panel. The Fabulous Fantastic Four presents Submariner versus the Human Race. It's got him riding 2 sea turtles. Sea turtles. And, Harold on a big horn and all these Atlanteans swimming around. And then we get a double-page spread where he's standing at his throne. Lady Dormouse waving a hanky at him. And there are all these people around, singing his praises. It's beautiful. This is some really good art.
This is some proto, like Inhumans, proto, New Gods scene right here.
Yeah.
Just with all the weird armor. Granted, it's all like ocean-based, but it's still just really good.
It is. I really, really love it. It's so beautiful. It's so well inked. I think Dick Ayers is helping a bit.
Yeah.
We get to see Lord Krang. Is it Lord Krang?
Yeah, Lord Krang.
Warlord Krang and Lady Dormouse talking. She's gonna marry. At some point, I don't know where he found his people.
That was something. It definitely happened off screen here.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere that this is the first place where all the Atlanteans are depicted as being blue, at least like consistently from here on.
Well, but they were blue in the 40s comics.
Okay, that was my question.
That's kind of her, because she's a 40s character. I don't know about Warlord Krang. But that's a good section. We move to the thing. It's the thing that bores me the most in this era is because it happens every issue is Johnny pranking the Thing and then messing up half the house, including. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute! I have to take back what I said about Sue. She does cry over her designer dresses.
I hated that. I really hated that.
Yeah, but they trash the place, so that takes 3 pages. 1, 2, 3, 3.5 pages, and then Reed starts talking about big giant sea monsters.
Which Johnny doesn't believe. I'm like, Johnny, you literally have fought this Submariner a couple of times by now. A giant, a literal kaiju stomped through New York. You dumbass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous. You've been to Monster Island. Come on, man. Yeah. So instead of using one of their super scientific devices, forms of transport, they take a cruise.
Mm-hmm. And again, so Johnny's bugging first Alicia and Ben, then he's bugging Reed and Sue, and it's like, Johnny, this is a swingers cruise, man. Come on, give it the program.
Odd man out, dude. No one wants you.
Yep.
And when they see a sea monster, they get one of the lifeboats.
Ugh.
I know they get captured. I like Namor's wearing this crown the whole time.
I was trying to think, is that a Golden Age crown or is that a Kirby crown? I couldn't figure it out.
I think it's a little bit of both. But it's cool. I mean, I'm really digging this. This is an awfully long comic.
It is.
It doesn't have enough plot to really need 35 pages.
No.
But it's basically two comics stuck together. But I mean, he captures them and he shoots them. What is it he's fired? Does he fire them off in a condom?
Basically.
It's
it's a giant rubber thing that they have shoot out. Well,
all right.
Not a good one either because it breaks pretty quickly.
Yeah. And they it's never good. And they get back home and they call the UN because Reed wants to talk to him about, and he Reed's being Reed. He gives this great speech. I cannot emphasize too strongly the gravity of the threat. This is no blustering tyrant trying to bluff the UN. This is the supreme ruler of powerful undersea empire who feels he is fighting for what is due him, and there is every possibility he has armed might to achieve his projections. And then you got Khrushchev banging his shoe on them.
That amused me greatly.
Yeah, I like that. Let's be topical. And then there's this old bearded scientist who gives us the history of Homo mermanus.
Which, if my actual knowledge of like the whales is correct, like that panel at least is fairly accurate.
Yeah, I like this. I like this origin that they start as cavemen, then they develop their own technology and domesticate the sea monsters and become this advanced society. And then we get Submariner and Lady Dorma's origin, or her, Submariner's mother.
Mom.
Yeah.
And again, I was curious if this was, them adapting some. I don't know how much.
Yeah, no, it's very close to the Bill. The Homo Romanus, I don't know, but the meeting and the wedding and all that.
Okay.
That ties with Bill Everett's origin.
Awesome.
And they even draw him to look a little Bill Everett still.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
And in some panels, his head is big,
Yeah.
Byrne will go on to do that, but ends up the guy in the white, the old man thing is, of course, it's the bad guy in disguise.
With another Scooby-Doo mask, because he doesn't put on a fake beard. He has a full mask, again, a Scooby-Doo mask over him. After Reed announces we gotta fight Submariner before he completely stops all ocean travel.
Oh yeah. And then we see another invasion. This is some great stuff.
Yeah. What I don't think I've read. I've only read an annual or two of it, but Atlantis Attacks is basically this, in the 80s.
Yeah, I would like to get. That gets a lot of love nowadays, but I remember there's event ones, some of them being kind of weak. That's an early one where it went through all the annuals. It's got its own little omni.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in a hard trade back. I like all this stuff. I like the design of the Atlanteans. I like that he is he's not doing it for money. He's doing it for real power. He's not trying to take over things. He's trying to defend his people.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it, and then they use a high-pitched sound because they have sensitive hearing because the way they are, and they drive all the Atlanteans back except for Submariner.
Oh, well, it's their helmet water is evaporating. So yeah, whatever.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So whatever Reed's Kirby tech machine did, which I just love this little bit where, as if in an answer to that desperate question, high in his skyscraper laboratory, Reed Richards works with a quiet, cold fury as a strange, complex electronic device takes shape within the lab. Again, the only thing missing is if he had the stubble here too.
I know, but it's great. More great Kirby machines. I love it, and I love.
Yep.
And then they have he has a fight with Reed. Reed folds himself up, acts like a bouncing ball, and then Submariner catches him and steps on part of him, stretches it, and then uses it like a punching bag.
Yep. What we got? He takes out Ben and Johnny. Johnny here, I think is doing he does this a couple of times where he'll like try and trap someone in a bunch of fireballs.
Yeah.
But this thing drove me nuts. The young flaming fool is so engrossed in what he's doing that he didn't notice me removing the cap from this live experimental gas jet. I shall always be grateful to Richards for having this built into his lab wall.
Oh my God.
What the hell is that?
It's like, why are you trying to show kids that you don't want kids to learn how to break a window? Just smash it through? And then he flies off. So
now here is Sue being damsel in distress again, unfortunately.
Yeah, and this isn't even a romance one. I was like, he wants to make her queen. But it's the three male Fantastic Four members battle the Submariner to a standstill, and this is what I really thought this was going to be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Krang's going, the battle goes well. Prince Namor has resumed the offensive. Krang, you must stop them. If you don't, sooner or later, one of them will be injured or worse. And that's Sue reading that. I'm sorry. And so I'm not sure why the people leave him in this. It's
because he was gonna marry a human instead of.
Yeah, but I don't see that's so loosely,
Yeah, we're not given a lot of context because like Sue is she's like, what is it? Sue's like really, she almost drowns at one point. Namor then flies her to the hospital. They find her, and then when Sue, then after Namor comes back from rescuing Sue, that's where he finds all the people gone. And my big takeaway with this story is, it's a big. There's not enough story to really justify the length, but this was a good. It was two good things. One, it was a good season 1 finale to kind of where we have been with the Fantastic Four at this point. Because this is one of Namor's last big appearances in this series proper. And it's a good kind of jumping off point it's a good issue 1 of the Submariner comic.
Yeah, which probably comes pretty soon. And this is a big annual because now we get these beautiful one-pagers of the Mole Man, the Skrulls, the Miracle Man, Submariner. We get how their costumes work and their powers work.
A lot of Q&As that are really good, and definitely them just kind of, here's all the letters we've been getting. We're going to make it,
got a big one-page cutaway of the headquarters.
Yeah, where they're getting more and more detailed, and I love it with each time.
Yeah, and then we get the little mini episode, which will become one of the best FFs. I mean, not best FF, best what ifs, where Spidey comes to try to join.
So I did reread the 2 pages in Spider-Man #1, where it is, and yeah, they add a lot more action where Spider-Man really just kind of there's no reason that he kind of shouldn't have joined based off how easily he beat them in that story.
Yeah, I never understood it. That's why I kind of like that what if. But I miss this stuff, man. You got a lot bang for your buck in this comic.
You did. You do. I do like, this is where Spider-Man's costume being black is really evident here, and the Ditko inks on Kirby, it's really there to try and keep Spider-Man consistent.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it works really well.
Oh yeah, it does. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. So I liked it. But it was very simple, but there was a lot of good stuff going on in it. And some of the Kirby art it's just getting better and better. I mean, it's always good, but I mean, it's just getting better. Now we're coming up to one of my favorite, which is the introduction of Rama Tut. At the mercy of Rama Tut, the Pharaoh from the future. So, one second. This was released on July 9th, 1963. Cover date October 1963. Again, editor-in-chief Stan Lee. Creative is Stan, Jack, Dick Ayers, Stan Goldberg, Sam Rosen doing letters, and Stan Lee, editor. And we're getting the next of the time travel characters, Rama Tut. And I like it. What do you think of this cover? This is a classics cover.
Yeah, no, again, one thing, the first thing is Ben is looking rockier and rockier. The straight edges from like 18 we're seeing, and just, again, this is just a classic cover of, all the Fantastic Four in peril with what, I'm going to guess this is Steve Englehart's favorite comic book of all time.
Yeah, because he adds to it every time, which is fine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I love it. I think it's great. I think it's one of the better stories that Reed has found in an ancient hieroglyphic that shows a radioactive plant cures blindness. So he's called Ben and Alicia on a date. He sends Johnny to get him because they're going to go back in time by using Dr. Doom's time machine. And that they leave the blind woman to reactivate the time machine.
Yep.
And they go back, and it's great. The fight scene in ancient Egypt is awesome.
Oh god, yeah, just Reed being like, what was it? Him trying to like deal with all the chariots, just getting twisted around 6 races from Sunday is really cool. Ben tying up all of the soldiers in like their own robes or whatever is, again, really fun.
It's a lot of fun stuff, and the art's amazing. And I always do like Jack's way of paneling. He's got that 9-panel sequence on one page, and then we get Rama Tut. This is just a great sequence because they're like, "How do you know English? What's going on?" He tells them where he's from, and then we get some panels that Byrne will lift over and over again, and so will other people. The origin of Rama Tut. It's so good.
Yeah, Rama Tut, like, who becomes one of Marvel's most convoluted characters in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but I love him. I love all of that stuff. He uses a device to make them all obey them. Mm-hmm. And now he's given tasks.
His time machine is the Sphinx, or
a Sphinx.
I wasn't sure if he retrofitted the Sphinx or if it's just a stable time loop deal. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I think it's explained later. But yeah, he crashes in his time machine. It looks like a Sphinx. And, he gives people his jobs. He puts Sue in his harem. Ben's Rowan is a slave on a galley ship. Reed's being used to look over walls.
And Johnny's just being the court jester.
Yeah. And then Ben's powers fade out.
For no reason, but at least again here they use it to some effect.
Yeah, he steals a chariot, and we cut back to Sue sitting next to Rama Tut. He's drinking some wine. Johnny's doing some tricks, and Ben's. I don't know, how did he get in the palace?
You know what, Ben?
It's a white dude in a Speedo running around, and he steals the gun.
Where he's able to then get Sue out of her trance. She turns invisible. She's still wearing the Egyptian clothes, which don't go invisible with her. She gets Johnny. Johnny again does the fireball trap special. Mm-hmm. Then I do love this bit of Ben breaking the pillar out and throwing it down the stairs to get the guards out of the way. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, very Indiana Jones, running them over. I love it. And or Reed leading a group of people trying to take soldiers trying to take the castle. He's protecting Rama Tut's men from arrows, and he's just a big wall, and they're sticking out the back. And then Johnny comes by and undoes the thing, and they find a secret tunnel to the Sphinx, and get in his time machine. And then again, it's a different sequence of them getting through a little maze. I like how Reed does it in this. He goes through conduits and come out.
Yes, I love that panel. And I feel like we've either have seen or will see a shot like that again soon.
Yeah. I think some of this is reprinted in like either the Doctor Strange or the West Coast Avengers kind of stuff. some of these scenes. Well, I like they find the optic nerve restorative. The Sphinx blows up, and they get back, but the time machine won't let radioactive material go through, so the cure is gone, and
Alicia is still won't get her eyesight back.
Yeah, and it's like, oh Ben, my darling, your love and the safety of all of you mean so much more than me merely having my sight back. I like this one. They're getting a little better. We got Molecule Man coming up next.
Yep. This issue is one that I like to say would be at least 6 issues worth of modern material today.
Oh yeah.
The first issue would have ended with them, the big splash panel of them being back in Egypt. Then it would have been them fighting, meeting Rama Tut at the end. Then like an issue of them being controlled. Then an issue of them breaking free of the control. Then them getting back in time.
Yeah.
Getting back to the future.
Yeah, I mean, when Engelhardt did his time travel one, what was it, a year?
Yeah. Let's see. In West Coast Avengers, it was like 7 issues.
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite single early FFs. That and the Red Ghost. It's just because it's just getting better. I mean, these are some fun comics. I'm really enjoying reading it again. I need to pick up where I left off because I was in a good spot and I wasn't that far from finishing. But I found other things to read. But it's getting better. It's changing. These are fun comics. They're easily accessible, thank God, to the app, and they've been reprinted out the yin-yang. But overall, I liked them. What's your favorite of the 4?
Oh, definitely the Super-Skrull one, just because that's where I got on board. There's not like a wasted page on that. Like honestly, in some ways, the annual was kind of the weakest because like the Namor story drug a little bit, but the other 3 I think moved really well.
My weakest is the first one because it's
it's a little kitty.
It's a little kitty, and they really just Doctor Doom. They haven't gotten him where I want him to be.
No,
Submariner is.
Yeah.
But Doctor Doom isn't this. He should be like Mariner. He's his own head of state. Yes, he does things that are bad to us, but he is protective of his people. Kind of that ambiguity, which is useful in storytelling. But I really liked it. I'm glad the Super-Skrull was in it because it's going to go to my recommendation this week in a way. So I liked it. And I'm looking forward to what's next because we're getting into some good stuff. Hate Monger, who I like a lot.
Yeah.
Molecule Man, who I don't think really gets great until Shooter does something with him.
Yeah. Then we're going to have a run of where it's going to be a lot of the Fantastic Four promoting all the other books except for Spider-Man. Yeah. But there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Oh, yeah. I want to do my recommendation because I've been thinking about it. I just pulled it off. I have had for a while the 2 Annihilation trades. I had not read them. I heard it was coming back out in Omni, and I was like, well, I got the trades. I'll be good. So I just thought I'd read 1 or 2, and I'm over halfway through the first trade, which is the Drax Mini, the Nova Mini, the Quicksilver Mini, the Prelude, and the Silver Surfer Mini, and I'm loving it. I've never read Annihilation. Oh, so good, and it's just so good.
Yes, it's the thing that revitalized Cosmic Marvel after it was dead.
Oh, I know, and I'm a big fan of 70s Cosmic Marvel. I need to get the Warlock omnibus. And they need to do a second Captain Marvel omnibus, which would have the rest of his stuff in it. Because I'd like to do a reread of that at some point. And then, I don't have all the Infinity trades, but they're, I could track them down.
Yeah, those aren't going to be as hard.
And I'm bidding on, I may not win them, but I'm bidding on the 2 oversized hardcover Annihilation Conquest. Because I think I will just kind of be breezing through them. And Super-Skrull has a lot to do with that. And this is also where they kind of make all of them like Ronin and these guys. Are they bad guys or are they just, superheroes for their people, and their people are antagonists. So
Yeah.
So I'm really digging it. And this is the introduction of the smart Drax, who they make stupid in the movies. Not stupid, but a comical.
Yeah.
But I really like it, and I forgot about cameo. I've read the first 2 minis, and that's about it.
Right.
I love that Dax mini, and that Nova mini with Kev Walker art is just insane good.
Yeah.
So good. So yeah, I'm psyched about that. So you have any recommendations for the folks?
Yeah. So I think we talked about this off air, but between are talking about the Legion and are talking about the Starman movie, I had read 100 all Mike Grell related issues of Warlords of the first volume, which is like 133 issues, 6 annuals, the 6-issue mini, and then he did a 16-issue series in the mid-aughts. And I just DC needs to make an omnibus out of that run, just because it's adventure after adventure after adventure, and it's beautiful Mike Grell art from top to bottom. In those first 50 issues, you're just never going to get bored. Something's always happening. And it's also just kind of a good thing to see how important an editor is, because after Grell leaves, you get Carrie Burkett writing, and then Michael Fleischer writing. And Fleischer, who I really like from his work on Jonah Hex and the Spectre, is trying to do really good Warlord stories. Then Robert Greenberger takes over as editor, and it's like, okay, sales are flagging. Let's throw in Power Girl. Let's throw in the New Gods. And it's like, these are characters that do not belong in this book, and it's just a clear case of, doesn't matter how good that the art is. Oh, and again, I really like Fleischer as a writer, but man, editorial interference is a hell of a drug sometimes.
Well, I've never understood why you put Warlord in the DC universe unless you're going to his world.
No, yeah, it's a similar case. So, Ross, not to spoil anything, there's a point in Secret Six where they go to Skataris, and I'm fine with that, but I don't want Warlord showing up in, so I'm fine with him showing up in there, but I don't want the Secret Six in a Warlord book. If Jonah Hex shows up in a Booster Gold comic, that's fine. We're seeing it from Booster Gold's point of view. I hate when Booster Gold showed up at the end of the Palmiotti Gray run of Jonah Hex, because it's like, these two things do not work. From the point of view we're looking at.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a good point, because I find them a little tacked in. I liked Warlord in Danger Street, but but that's like it's in its own little bubble.
Yep.
And he's wearing the original costume. So
he's out of pretty curly.
Yeah, it's the comic book version, the more comic book version of him.
Yep.
So he starts off dressed like John Carter of Mars, and then becomes more Tarzan or Conan, which is more appropriate. So that's something that needs to come out in an omni. It's just ridiculous that it's not. I mean, they've got all of his they're doing his Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Is coming out in an omni, his early stuff. So, it's just it. All right, folks. So hey, I don't know what's going to be next this week. This is episode 101. I got some plans. Work is crazy. And going to be doing some stuff, and I shall be recording with Dave Steele from Earth 2 Podcast. We're going to be covering the Shade miniseries. I read those last night, which was amazing. I had not read them in a while for Opal City Confidential. And I'm looking for more stuff to do with Opal City Media Club, because me and Kirby had a fun time talking about Starman, and there's some other ideas I have. All right, folks. As always, be safe, be smart. Please be kind to one another, and read some comic books. Read some Fantastic Four.
Absolutely.
All right,
Good night, everybody.